But without any further ado, let's just kick it off and go to the first fight. It's going to be in the UFC's flyweight division between Jeff El Jefe Molina, who comes into this fight with a record of 10 victories and 2 defeats, going up against Zhalgas Zhumagulov, who comes into this fight with a record of 14 victories and 6 defeats. Now, when you look at this fight overall, I think that there are some aspects of this fight that may make you want to stay away from it in terms of a betting aspect. And I completely understand, because there are aspects of Jeff Molina's game that I feel like can play into the strengths of a Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Or is it Zhumagulov or Zhumagulov, however you want to pronounce it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm always open for criticism. But when it comes to this fight, I believe that it's a big striking advantage for El Jefe, Jeff Molina. I think he is heavily, I think he's head and shoulders above Zhumagulov when it comes to the striking on the feet. And I don't think that that's a surprise to a lot of people. Now, you look at his UFC record. He's 10-2 overall. In the UFC, he is currently 2-0. If you want to count 3-0, you can count the Dana White's Contender Series decision over Jacob Silva. But he's got a decision over Quailing Iori at UFC 261. And then a TKO in the second round over Daniel Lacerda at UFC Fight Night 196, Costa versus Vittori. The thing I noticed about Jeff Molina is that he tends to pick it up the longer the fight goes. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like a more technical or sharper Manel Kape. I think you can make a little bit of a comparison to Molina and Manel Kape. And Manel Kape also fought Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Now, if you look at Molina's record, he has lost a split decision to Nate Smith back in 2017, and he lost via submission in his first pro fight against Stephen Merrill back at Victory Fighting Championships Fight Night Harris on June 3rd, 2017. Since then, he's been on a 7-fight win streak, I believe. A 9-fight win streak. Okay, so a 9-fight win streak. So he started off his career 1-2 in pro MMA, and then he went on a 9-fight win streak. So Molina is riding a 9-fight win streak into this fight against Zhumagulov. Now, if you go and look at Zhalgas Zhumagulov, he is 14-6 overall in professional mixed martial arts. But if you break down the record, in the UFC, he holds a record of 1-3. So he's coming off one win over Jerome Rivera at UFC 264. He got a guillotine choke, or many like to call it oh my God, I just had this name in my head. He locked up the guillotine, but he locked it up in a figure 4, kind of like a Darce or an Anaconda. It's actually called hold on. Guillotine choke. Because I cannot think of the name of it to save my life. Let me see. The ninja choke. Okay, that was it. The ninja choke. Take away my MMA analyst credentials. He caught him in a ninja choke. He caught him in the front headlock. I think he stunned him with a left hook stepping in, and one of his wide shots. He shot a takedown. It was a lazy takedown, and he caught him in the ninja choke and got the sub. But even before he won that fight, he was getting picked apart on the feet, in my opinion. A lot of long front kicks to the body, round kicks, low kicks, high kicks, long 1-2s, good rangy strikes from Jerome Rivera. And that was a fight I actually rode with Jerome Rivera to beat Zhumagulov, because honestly, Zhumagulov just doesn't really impress me when it comes to his MMA career, especially when it comes to his UFC career. I know 14-6 overall, that's not a terrible record, and it's not. That's a decent record, but in the UFC, he just hasn't performed. He's 1-3 overall. He's got that submission over Jerome Rivera. The thing with Zhumagulov is, one, his defense is kind of non-existent when it comes to being on the feet. And the second thing is he tends to loop a lot of his punches. The best shots from a Zhumagulov are wide left hooks, wide right hooks, wide overhands as you're stepping into range. It's those wide looping, wild shots that will catch somebody stepping in. And he's got power and speed behind it. He caught Manel Kape with some good shots on the feet and stunned him early on in the fight. But if you can kind of draw him into that technical striking, maintain your range, maintain your distance, and kind of poke and prod from a distance, use that jab, use the fakes and feints, use the long 1-2, check the cross into the left hook. You know, if you can use those long rangy shots and keep Zhumagulov off of you and keep him at a distance, his defensive responsibility is kind of non-existent when it comes to his UFC career. And if anybody can take advantage of that, it's Jeff El Jefe Molina. Molina is a fantastic striker. He tends to pick it up the longer the fight goes. So I believe when it comes to this fight with Zhumagulov, he has to be careful in the first round. You don't want to rush in and potentially give your neck up, potentially give your back up to the point where Zhumagulov might be able to stun you and then get into a scramble and lock up a rear naked choke or lock up that ninja choke like he did against Jerome Rivera. I could see a early submission for Zhumagulov in this fight. I could definitely see the early submission, but overall, I think the longer the fight goes, it just plays into the game of Molina. He's going to be able to keep it at range. He's going to be able to measure that distance. Pop him with the jab, pop him with the 1-2, pop him with the cross hook, fake the cross hook, feint the cross, double jab, right hand. That 1-2 of Jeff Molina, and especially that jab, the longer the fight goes, is going to be money for Molina all night. It's going to be money. And the longer he can keep Zhumagulov at a distance, the longer he's going to be able to poke and prod and pick him apart. He's got very loose combinations, very solid hands, very good at changing up the tempo. You know, ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. You know, he can change up the tempo of his combinations and throw 3, 4, 5 punch combos. And when Molina starts to pick it up, that's when he can really start to put the damage on you, like you saw in the fight against, if we can pull it up really quick, like we saw in the fight against Daniel Lacerda. He really picked it up later on. At the end of the first round, was hurting him on the feet, got in the top position in the half guard and landed vicious elbows, got in the full mount, vicious ground and pound. And especially against Quailing Iori, he was eventually, just the longer the fight went, just piecing him up and getting stronger as the fight went on. But he tends to have a rough first round. And against a guy in Zhumagulov who's so explosive, so wild, and can get you in a scramble and potentially grab your neck, he's got to be careful in the first round. If Zhumagulov pulls this off, it's going to be in the first round by either catching Molina with a wild shot, stunning him, and then potentially grabbing his neck to lock up a guillotine or a rear naked choke, or he's going to stun him on the feet with a wild shot and potentially get a TKO. But if we're really going off who I believe is going to get this fight done and who I think is going to win, I have to go with El Jefe. I have to go with Jeff Molina. I think the second and third round, midway point of the second into the third, that's when the combinations, that's when the long rangey shots of Rivera or of Molina are going to be there. And with the defensive irresponsibility of a guy like Zhumagulov, who's so wild and so open for a lot of the shots you throw at him, just look at the Manel Kopp fight for a perfect example. I think it's going to be very similar to that. He'll have a rough first round. He'll pick it up. He'll start landing those combos, start landing the jab, start landing the 1-2, the 1-2-3-2, 1-1-2. He's going to start landing those combos. And I think that Zhumagulov is going to get pieced up, get hurt, get dropped, and get finished via TKO. So my pick is Jeff El Jefe Molina to defeat Zhalgas Zhumagulov via I'm going to go with a late second round TKO. I think he's really going to pick it up in the second, start landing those combos, and just land a good combos, land a 1-2, land a double jab right hand, drop him, and jump on him and finish him. I think this will probably be Zhumagulov's last fight in the UFC, as he would be 1-4 if he does come up short here. But I'm going with El Jefe, Jeff Molina, to defeat Zhalgas Zhumagulov via a late second round TKO.